Hi, welcome to the video. Guess who's back? Me. As you can see, I look like a tree, but that's fine. Now it's time to get into the video. Okay, so as said, this is a sighting video pointing something out that I have seen within Scott Nuttall's hike video. Now, I've done them in the past with Liberia Sean's, Kenny's original footage, as well as Really Robin. This time it's Scott. Additionally, if you haven't yet, feel free to check out the comparison videos I did between Scott's hike and Liberia Sean's hike, specifically to do with the cave, the covered up cave. There should be a link in the description and comment section. Feel free to watch that. But as for this sighting in Scott's video, I can't remember the name of the video, but I'll credit it down below as well. But what I noticed was, as Scott is inside a cave looking around, panning the camera around, there's some kind of opening towards the left-hand side, and he walks up to it. I think it's on a bit of a slope, and it goes out to a hole, an opening looking outside. And as he's walking up it, the camera catches a glimpse of a rock with very strange symbols on them. I say symbols because it's not just one, there's at least 3 different ones. And I would say at least one of them is definitely very similar to an actual symbol that does exist. So I don't feel this is coincidental, because the symbols do look quite similar to actual symbols that exist out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the footage now, then play it back, pause it, analyse it, and then get more in depth.
Alright. Little holes everywhere. Little cubby holes. This looks... I probably had a fire here at one time. Go back in here. We got, there's a little hole right here. You can stand and look out.
So if you didn't see it, I'll replay it one more time, but cut down.
Hole right here. You can stand and look out.
Right, so I paused the video to show you the strange sighting I noticed. This is a still screenshot, and as you can quite clearly see, on that rock there seems to be 3 different unique symbols which do stand out. Now the question is, what are they? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Now the actual screenshot itself isn't the clearest, so what I did do was I drew the symbols on paper to make them easier to see. So basically this is what they look like on the rock. So the first symbol looks to be of either the letter A or maybe a triangle shape of one. The symbol in the middle looks to be of some kind of circle with a dot in the middle. If not that, an uncompleted circle, maybe like a horseshoe. And then the final symbol looks to be of the figure of 8 sideways with like 2 lines, dashes underneath them. So if we get back to it, you notice similarity between them. So yeah, one thing I will do very briefly is I will change the filter on this to see if I can make it any clearer. Let's try cartoon. Save it. Okay, so basically what this filter has done is all of the light from outside, which is here, all that light is basically white. The light that's shining upon the rock is also white. But obviously the one thing that does stand out is these 3 symbols. So there you go, that's a clearer look at them. Looks kind of like an A or some kind of tip triangle. Middle one does look like a circle with a dot in the middle, And then the last one definitely stands out and looks like maybe a figure of 8 from the looks of it. Now, the question is, what's the meaning behind them? Well, let's get into that now. Now, one thing I want to point out before I explain this stuff is that I didn't know where to begin with in terms of finding meanings behind these symbols, languages, whether it's ancient or modern. So I just want to put that out. If you have an idea or know what the symbol means, feel free to leave a comment down below because it could be helpful. So let's get into it. So the first symbol on the left-hand side, starting off with, which looked to be maybe of an A or some kind of triangular shaped cave, maybe. Well, on here, it says the cave is thought to be closely related to the symbolic heart and is often a place where the self and ego unite. They can be secret passageways to an underworld, places in which to make contact with the powers and forces which will eventually make their way into the world of light. So that's one way of looking at that, whatever that means. Kind of coincidental in a way because, you know, it's in the Nevada desert. It's talking about an underworld, passageways, unlocking and stuff, mystical. Coincidental because some people have talked about the M cave being some kind of passageway which opens up. So yeah, that's just one way of looking at it. Now the other one was the letter A. If it's a letter A, what does it symbolise? Well, it says the letter A stands for sound, the great mystical power and acts of magic. In Egyptian hieroglyphics, it meant the beginning, the solar heat of the day. The Greek alpha also marks the beginning of all things. So you've got that one. Kind of coincidental again because it's talking about the A stands for sound, mystical power and acts of magic. Well, like with the M cave, supposedly there's vibrations. Maybe you can actually hear the vibrations internally. Just another little link there. Let's move on to the next one. The circle. The symbol in the middle. Circled dot. It says the circled dot or circle with a point at its centre is an ancient symbol. It can represent solar system, solar symbol used to represent the sun, gold, the sun, Ra. Okay, so there's kind of a link here with the previous symbol. So as you can see, it says it's an ancient symbol and it represents solar. Well, this one, the letter A symbolises, it's basically ancient again, ancient Egypt, I guess. And it also means the solar heat of the day. So maybe there's some kind of connection. And then you got this one here. Tells us that a dot, this is talking about the dot itself, tells us that a dot is a symbol of unity and the origin. A circle suggests infinity, the all. And a circle with a dot or hole in the centre represents the centre of infinity. Now, the reason why this links on, because as you can see, it says represents the centre of infinity. Well, that figure of 8 symbol, which is next to the circular symbol, is the infinity symbol. A figure 8 on its side variously signifies the concept of limitlessness or eternity, especially as used notationally in mathematics and metaphorically with respect to love. So, you know, there's a link there, you know, like how it's going on about infinity, forever, some kind of connection, you know, like I was saying with respect to love, if you used to think about it in that way, you know, it's a figure of 8, they intertwine with one another, they connect. So it's kind of like representing a deep connection, either emotionally, internally, physically, whatever. And with it being connected, it's harder to break through environmental factors or other people. When a connection is strong, it's hard to detach. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. But in this case, you know, this does have linkage to this. and this has linkage to that. So that's kind of interesting how they link with one another in some way. I'm not saying that these definitions or these specific definitions are of what that symbol is in Scott's hike video, but this is what I'm going off from because I can't find anything else. I don't know where else to look. So that's why I'm saying maybe you might know better. But, you know, it's kind of interesting this because one key thing is, providing you're still watching this video, one key thing is I did do a previous video in the past and it was looking at Really Robin's hike video, and there was an odd looking stone, different colour to all the other rocks around, and it had some kind of strange square symbol with a flick in the corner of it, and I think that's Hebrew. And it basically, if you want to check that video out because it's quite interesting, there should be an icon top corner of the screen right now, so make sure to check that out because it might have some kind of link to this. You never know. So yeah, the only other thing I just want to point out very briefly is the other bits in the hike video I just showed you before. So the other small details were Scott referencing this part of the cave where he said like someone had a fire here. I don't know if that's true, but you know, it does look quite dark. Maybe the smoke caused that. You never know. I mean, depends when it was done. You know, it could have been done recent, or was it done way back in the past? You know, could there be a link between this and that symbol on the rock? Maybe it was done at the same time. Whoever, whatever, that had a fire in that cave ended up drawing those patterns, symbols on the rock. So yeah, could be a long time ago. Now equally though, even though this is in a different location to Liberia Shawn, Liberia Shawn did reference about some kind of cave in one of his videos where it looked like someone had a fire because the rocks were very dark above in the shallow cave. So I guess there's another link there between Scott and Liberia Shawn. So there's that to take into account. The other kind of funny thing I noticed is that just before Scott starts like going up that slope where the rock is with the pattern on, just down below on the side of one of like the rock faces there's a hole. It's kind of funny because it reminds me of like the keyhole from Liberia Shawn's video. It's not the clearest, but it's definitely a hole, and it's kind of circular as well. So I don't know if that debunks the keyhole, the actual hole of it. I guess you can make your own mind up with that. But let's just change the filter for a laugh. That's a weird one. There you go. So that's definitely a hole. I don't know what caused it, but it looks more natural because of the area it's in. Could that debunk the keyhole in Liberia Shawn's video? So yeah, just thought I'd add that in. Okay, so that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. At the end of the day, my opinion on this is I do feel that those are symbols on the rock because of the way they look, the way they stand out, and from at least what I've looked into, the meanings behind them potentially do link with one another, so that might reinforce something. I'm not saying that I know what the meanings of the symbols are. You know, there might be a different meaning behind them, a truer meaning, but it's just based off what I could find at the time. Like I said, if you know something, feel free to leave a comment down below. So yeah, that's the end of the video. See you next time. Goodbye.